Hey guys, Shashank this side. And if you have worked in more than 3 offers in the past 12 months, you are quietly killing your sales career. Now, let me explain what that means. I know you belong to the remote sales industry. Just like me, I am also part of it. You have this ideology that you have that freedom that you can hop fast. If this was traditional job, then you won't be changing jobs so fast, right? But because it's remote, you can apply to jobs, you can hop jobs very quickly, you can chase the next shiny offer, the next big thing in the industry very quickly, right? You can look for better commissions, better base pay, and you can always blame the product and the leads. But in doing so, you're not building a career, you're building a resume of exits. And to be very honest, when I take interviews of people, the first thing that I look at is the jobs they have taken and what was the duration in each job. And I specifically ask them why they exited their last job or the second job or the third job or the fourth job. I do it for all the jobs. And if I see a person who has this shiny object syndrome where they are just, they are a job hopper, I never, I never ever basically hire them because that's the biggest red flag. Because I already know they will stay here for 3 months and then whenever they face the first challenge, they will quit. And that is not just me, that is like all the recruiters out there. So stop killing your sales career by doing this. Now, the problem overall over here is with the shiny object syndrome, that job hopping that you are doing is you jump whenever you sense the first resistance. Whenever you have a one bad week, you exit the company. Whenever leads drop, you exit the company. And you always think to yourself that this offer is bad. The founder is bad. He doesn't know. The marketing is bad. The leads are bad. Right? The next one will fix this. You always blame outside circumstances and never actually see what's happening within you. You never take on responsibility. Now you'll be like, Shashank, if the leads are bad, why should I take responsibility? I will, of course, leave the opportunity, right? You're still not understanding the main problem over here. Every time you jump, you are basically resetting your own learning curve, right? What do I mean by that? In any offer, it takes certain amount of mastery. You're never doing mastery in any of the offers that you have basically worked at. You just learn the surface level stuff, never go into depths, never master the offer, and you skip. In high ticket closing, just consider high ticket closing like a game. In every game, the character basically keeps on upgrading himself after crossing challenges, right? So level 1, he has certain skill. Level 2, he'll upgrade his power. 3 upgrade, 4, 10. Level 10, he'll be like Superman, whatever. High ticket closing is the same. Whenever you learn the product properly, end to end, you have mastered it, you go to the next level. Whenever you understand, okay, these are the 5 objections I usually get after doing it for 2 months and reflecting on 2 months of data, and then you master those objections, you have leveled up. Once you have built that internal conviction that this product is actually helping people and changing their lives, you level up as a closer. You go to level 5. But the problem with job hopping is you are never able to do this mastery in any offer, and you always blame the leads for it. The problem is not leads, the problem is you, because you have not mastered the art of closing in that particular offer, and you quit too soon just thinking that it's the problem of the offer instead of finding a solution. That is exactly the pattern that you keep on doing again and again, and then you think to yourself, why aren't you making progress? Why? Because you always are restarting the entire game and starting from level 1, and then you think, why aren't you reaching level 10? You won't, because you cannot stick around. You're too fickle minded right now. That's the problem. Now, why you do it, I can understand why you're doing it. Because, of course, shiny object syndrome. The grass is always greener on the other side. And whenever you start a new offer, you get those early wins. I'm sure whenever you have started, you get that beginner's luck. Oh, this offer is too simple. Oh, the quality of leads is too good. And you get those initial sales, you make good amount of money, and then you are motivated that this time it will work, this time it's different. And again, whenever life hits you, you quit. And that happens because of lack of that stable base. You're always looking for the next opportunity. You're always looking for that one big shot that will change your life. That's a pattern that you have fallen into. There is no one big shot. Yeah, some people do get lucky and get that one big shot in their lives. But what happens after that one big shot? Majority of them come back to the same situation. Why? Because it was luck instead of their hard work and them evolving themselves to reach that level. Without the right level of evolvement, even if I give you $1 billion, you will lose it. That is what happened in coronavirus. Do you know US printed trillions of dollars and it distributed to its citizens? What ended up happening? Every citizen got a good amount of good check for free, good amount of money in COVID. But ultimately, all that money went again to the billionaires, the top 1%. Elon Musk became more richer in coronavirus. Jeff Bezos became more richer. Why? Because money always flows to the top. Money always flows to the people who attract money. That's a classic example. And that is what is happening with you. Since you are not that person who can reach level 10, you keep on job hopping as if you are shopping somewhere. Right? Now, it feels like you are being smart, but actually you are avoiding discomfort. Correct? So, instead of chasing environments, you need to start fixing yourself. That is the main thing. That's my perspective. Let me share a little bit of my experience as well. I was talking about this business offer that I was working in. That environment, I used to get brutally challenged every single day. You think I had so many thoughts of quitting at so many point of time, you don't even have an idea. Not just me, like all the closers, entire team. But we kept on going. Why? Because we knew that's the part of the game. If we are able to survive this, then we will become unstoppable. And that is what eventually happened. That's why I'm running a company, top line selling, working with so many big companies right now, right? Because I was able to create that work ethic. I was able to challenge myself. I allowed people to challenge me brutally every single day. I started selling people to people who were way more experienced than me. I was able to step out into that discomfort, come out of my comfort zone, start challenging people on calls. I didn't just collect commissions. I collected reps, I collected conversation, I collected all my mistakes. And the closers who made it to the top weren't the ones who jumped fastest. They were the ones who stayed long enough to get dangerous. And once they get dangerous, there's no stopping you. That is what you need to realize. I'll give you one example. Early when I started in this offer, one person came. I won't name him, but he had almost 20 years of corporate experience. Then he launched his own business. He was running some coaching business only and he wanted help to scale his business. He came on a call with me. This was my initial fourth or fifth call. On that call, this guy literally obliterated my frame. He took over the call. Instead of me asking the questions, he was the one asking questions. He's like, who are you? What do you do? Okay, how can you help me? What's the price? Oh man, like he was asking the questions, I was answering the questions. I lost my entire framing on that call. That was the baddest experience that I had in sales so far. Not so far, till that point of time. Of course, I've met many more cocky prospects after that. But after that call, I was so demotivated. My morale was so down. I went to my manager. I was like, this happened. He took my frame. I didn't know what to do. And then my manager trained on how to handle cocky prospects. And now I look forward to meeting a cocky prospect. So that is a shift that happened, right? But that was only possible because I stuck around, right? Even in the second time I met a cocky prospect, I wasn't able to implement it directly, whatever I learned from the mistakes. But eventually, third cocky prospect, fourth, 10th one, I used to destroy these people. Like I can literally destroy a cocky prospect. If he comes on a call with me, they are done. Nobody can take my frame. I would rather offend them, let the deal go, than give my frame to any person. That's the mindset now. But that level, that mistakes that I made, is what made me dangerous. Why? Because sticked around in one offer. I was there overall. That is what you need to do as well. You need to stick around. And why you are not doing that, that's pretty clear to you. That's a pattern. Just look into your personal life. Are you a person who cannot commit? Whether it's in relationship, you are inconsistent. You start reading books, but you're not consistent. You start doing meditation, you're not consistent. You start going to the gym, you're not consistent. You start taking a diet, you're not consistent. That's a pattern. How you do one thing is how you do everything in life. So I'm not saying don't directly go and start fixing, I will become consistent here. If that's not a possibility for you, start fixing your personal life. Start becoming consistent in other areas of your life. Stop having that shiny object syndrome, that grass is greener on the other side, right? Once you start fixing over here, you'll see that even in your sales career, you'll start reflecting. You will start becoming more stable mentally, and you will start observing whenever those thoughts are coming up within you that, okay, I need to shift, this is becoming difficult. Maybe I should change my offer. Oh, that person is giving me more commissions. I should maybe go there. You would be able to pick that up and stop yourself from making the same mistake again. Because ultimately, the new rule that you need to understand is depth beats speed. You can be the fastest person, you can do 6 offers in 1 year, but one person who has the depth will always earn more than you. Simple. You need to have mastery. Don't be jack of all trades and master of none. Master one thing instead of becoming a jack of all trades. So a real closing career is picking one good offer. Again, I'm repeating, good offer. I don't mean just stay on a stupid offer and continue. That is stupid, of course. Then shift the offer. But find one good offer and one strong mentor and commit long enough to master the psychology, the patterns, the objections and tonality that works in that industry. Build your reputation, your leverage and trust in that industry. Become top 1% closer for that company. Produce good amount of revenue. Become a dispensable asset for the company, where the founder doesn't want to let you go ever. Once you become that, high income will start flowing towards you. I have a very good line that I would want to share. High income comes from high leverage. High leverage comes from high mastery. So, high income comes from higher leverage. What is high leverage? When you have mastered closing in a particular offer, then instead of closing at 10%, you're closing at 40%. So the same 10 calls, instead of converting 1%, now you're converting 4. Instead of collecting 2 lakhs, you're collecting 8 lakhs now with the same amount of effort. That is leverage. So high income comes from high leverage, and high leverage comes from high mastery. That is only possible once you have mastered the industry and the niche. So job hoppers think like freelancers, and decision guides think like professionals. That is what you need to do. So if you keep running from resistance, resistance will always run your life. Life is tough. If you keep running away from uncomfortable situations, you'll not end up in a good position overall. As a elder brother, you can say, just take this advice from me. Stop running from uncomfortable situations. Start facing them. The market doesn't pay for your effort. It pays for the depth that you bring in, the mastery that you bring in, right? Because a rickshaw puller works way harder. A labor works way harder than you, but you're making more money than him. Why? Because you have a skill. You have a skill that can actually produce money for companies, whereas a labor cannot directly do that, right? So market is paying you for your value, not for the efforts that you're putting in. So overall, if you want to stop hopping and start mastering high ticket closing, this channel is exactly for a person like you. Subscribe if you haven't already. Subscribe if you are ready to play the long-term game and become extremely dangerous as a closer and become that top 1% closer. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, bye-bye.